Right, I'm with Arindam of HSBC. He specializes in the Middle East. And the question that I have for you, Arindam, is the Arab Spring. How has that affected investor perception of the region?
I think it has hugely affected investor perception, but given the scale and scope of the Arab Spring, I think it could have been far worse. To be specific, Egypt is one of the largest markets in the Middle East from a foreign institutional investor point of view. The Egyptian market was closed for about 6 weeks. When the market opened, the market crashed, as one would expect. But shortly thereafter, the market rebounded to a very large extent. So year to date, the market is down by about 20% or so. Given the scale and scope of the revolution in Egypt, I think it's not that bad. If I put it in context, I saw more money getting out of the Middle East during the global financial crisis than I've seen now during the Arab Spring.
And I mean, if we take the peak of foreign investment, which I guess was 2 or 3 years ago.
That's right.
How high is investment, on your estimate, in the Arab world from overseas investors, relatively speaking, between the 2 years?
I think the highest that we saw was towards the middle of 2008, from a foreign institutional investor perspective. Just after the financial crisis, so by let's say December of 2008 or early 2009, it had bottomed out. In specific countries like UAE, which actually saw an unprecedented boom, assets fell by almost as much as 90%. Foreign institutional assets. This time around, we haven't seen anything of that magnitude. So I think that's very encouraging. The other thing is, I think investors are now differentiating between one country and the other. So they, while they do consider the GCC as one asset class or MENA as one asset class, they have looked at it country by country and taken selective decisions while entering or exiting a country.
One of the comments in the conference here today has been on infrastructure in the Middle East and the improvement of infrastructure in the Middle East. What is your view generally of the infrastructure risk within the Middle East markets?
I think if I look at the direction, it's hugely positive. As you would have heard this year, just a month back, both UAE and Qatar, which are some of the larger GCC markets, they implemented the DVP model. Now this is something that we've been lobbying for quite some time. Hopefully it's our voice, but partly also the MSCI carrot of emerging market status that finally encouraged them to take that step. I think that takes a huge amount of risk out of the system. Whether it gets them the emerging market status or not this year, I don't know. Possibly it may not, but I think fundamentally it makes the markets less risky. So overall, from an infrastructure risk perspective, it's hugely positive.
Arindam, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, John.